guys, caught this big old girl right here cranking, and it's been a pretty good day so far. Big old pre-spawn fish here. About to weigh her and see what we got. All right, guys, looks like she is right at 612. I don't know if you can see that or not, but 6 pounds 12 ounces on her. I'm gonna put her back. She's a beautiful fish, full, big old chunky girl. Put her back in the water. Full and angry. All right, guys, I'll talk a little bit about pre-spawn. You know, pre-spawn fishing can be phenomenal, catching fish like that, or it can be brutal. One of the two. These last couple of weeks for me, I know, have been absolutely terrible. You know, but just keep grinding away and figuring it out. You know, most of the time, this time of year typically, you know, catching a lot of fish on jigs around docks and these pre-spawn fish moving up, but I haven't had a whole lot of luck around docks. And you know, hell, everybody's been catching them on that crankbait bite, and I hadn't had a whole lot of luck with that either. You know, like I said, the last couple weeks were a struggle. Start of the season was absolutely terrible. Couldn't have been worse. It was a doggone nightmare, but that happens. Watched a video one time of Greg Hackney talking about bass fishing, and he literally said that this sport will chew you up and spit you out, and I couldn't agree more. It's a tough sport, but you know, positive mental attitude, I think, certainly goes a long way. Confidence and positive thinking certainly make a huge difference. I'll tell you what, these last couple of weeks have made me question my ability to catch fish, especially with all these people coming in with these 20+ pound sacks. You know, I in the first tournament of the year out here on Murray, my home lake, you know, I kind of made a mistake and put you know, my eggs in some staging areas in that basket, and was hoping to, you know, catch 5 before 10 a.m. and then run the crankbait bite the rest of the day, and it just really was an utter failure. Completely backfired on me, and was just a nightmare of a situation. And you know, again, it happens. I made a mistake. You know, in a one-day tournament, I should never be trying to catch a limit. I should be trying to catch the biggest bag on the lake. It was just an awful idea, terrible idea. But again, hindsight's always 20/20, and I won't make that mistake again, I can assure you. But you know, these fish are definitely shallow. I caught that girl right there, probably 3 foot of water. You know, and I've had some luck. You know, obviously not quite as big on the other fish today, but in the 3 and 4 pound range. And I mean, it's been a good morning. Typically this time of year, you know, I'm fishing exclusively rock. I mean, really from the fall through the winter, I'm fishing nothing but rock. Obviously, most people are doing. You know, crankbaits, jigs. You know, there really wasn't a winter this year, so the jerkbait really hadn't been a factor. The A-rig is normally just a killer on this lake, and it has not been much of a factor this year. You know, it's just kind of one of those years where we had an extended fall, and December and January were phenomenal out here for me, and the first half of February has not been good. Although today I've certainly got a little more confidence going now that I've got into a good bite. But you know, typically, again, this time of year, I'm fishing a lot of docks and throwing jigs. I love to throw a jig. Greenfish Tackle makes the best jig on the market. Their skipping jig is just effortless to skip under a dock and round structure, and their football crawball jig is unbelievable too. You know, I tell you what, the funny thing is I caught that fish after I'd probably caught 3 or 4 other ones I didn't change, I didn't cut, didn't retie, nothing. Had the same crankbait on, and out of those 4 fish, I've probably caught 16 pounds of fish or more. And that high seas fishing line, if you guys haven't tried high seas fishing line, and listen, they don't pay me to say this. I'm telling you guys, 100% high seas fishing line is the best there is. It is unbelievable. I mean, the abrasion resistance on that fishing line is just crazy. But anyway, normally this time of year, again, I'm looking for, I'm looking halfway back in the backs of the creeks, kind of where the river channel cuts in, especially if there's a creek bed or river channel runs in front of a set of docks. That's typically where I'm fishing. Fishing a lot of secondary points, especially with rock. And again, I did a video before on how I approach a point. I literally start shallow and kind of work my way out. Again, with these fish being shallow, if I don't get bit, from that 3 to 6 foot range, I'm not even going out any deeper. I'm just moving on to the next point. It's the same with the dock. If I'm not getting bit in that 3 to 6 foot range, I'm moving on to the next one. I'm not bothering hitting every post and every spot on the dock. I mean, they're only going to be in certain spots. And a lot of times this time of year, they're hanging around over the kind of the bridge section of a dock. They like to hang out under that part of it. Why, I couldn't tell you. But usually a dock with a bridge, especially any docks with a boat ramp next to it, around rock, are typically money this time of year. And I can't wait for that bite to turn on. It'll be any time now. And I'm looking for shallower docks, and ones that have a pretty good drop off. Especially docks where you can find some big rock out in front of the dock. Man, they will sit and set up right in that area. So anyway, those are some of the things I'm looking for. I don't fish a whole lot of main lake stuff this time of year. They've already kind of started their move to the backs of the creeks, and right now, I mean, I've been riding around, and you can see, I mean, a lot of the bait. I mean, there are so many birds, gulls, herring. I mean, it's crazy how many fish are halfway back or all the way in the back of these creeks. And I know some guys are still catching them on the main lake shallow, and they don't all move up at one time, obviously. But I think the bigger ones in certain areas are certainly moving up into some shallower secondary points, and again soon to be docks, hopefully. But again, I mean, this time of year is typically what I'm doing. I like to fish shallow. I absolutely, it makes me sick to have to think about fishing deep. I hate fishing deep. And again, that's just me. I'll fish shallow year round, and it's been so good shallow here for the last several months. It's been a lot of fun. But again, got a lot of work to do after a terrible start to the season, but I'll get it turned around, and get myself back in position to have a good year. Got a lot of team trail tournaments coming up too, and we're gonna have some fun this year. It's gonna be a good year. It just is. Starting the year off like this has just made me want to work that much harder. So I'm certainly not one to ever give up. I always stay in the fight, and I'll figure it out one way or another, no matter how tough the bite is. So anyway, again, rock, docks, shallower humps with rock, midway back in these creeks. Is typically where I'm fishing this time of year, especially if there's some wind, especially on Murray. Wind is a huge factor on Murray. If that wind's blowing straight in on a rocky point, man, don't drive past it. You need to stop your boat and hit that area, because I guarantee you there's going to be some bait, and chances are there's going to be some fish. That big girl I caught was just around the corner of a rock point, kind of where it was calm water, but she was probably just sitting right here waiting for some bait fish to cruise by as they were getting pushed up against those rocks. And like I said, one cast I probably made 2 cranks, and man, she smoked it, choked the crankbait. So that was a good feeling. The other fish I've caught today, it didn't really choke it, but again, this time of year it's all about a reaction strike. And anyway, I'm gonna get back out there and catch a few more, hopefully like that one. All right, guys.